Oh boy, we'll see. We'll see who can come out on top. You know, one of the more established old school players, or one of the rising talents, one of the up and comers, ex teammate of StarDuck himself. Maybe you can give us a little bit of insight as well as we get into the series.
Yeah, these are probably the two players I'm the most familiar with in the American scene.
Oh. Time. So we'll see what his planning will.
So yeah, Submarine. I think interesting map. It's very short and very good to attack on. So I wonder, like, if like in a way, it's kind of a standard-ish map in PvP. Like, it doesn't have any special features.
Oh boy.
It's
oh
like
boy.
more of the vein of Lightshade Romanticide.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how this turns out as we are getting into our upper semifinals. I did do a bit of audio balancing. Hopefully it helps out. I did just like up a bunch of gain and give us the feedback as we are here in the semis. And spawning in the top left, we have our North American Protoss player. She is yellow. She is representing Team Exxon. It is Nina.
And spawning in the bottom right-hand side of Submarine, it is representing Alpha X, the red Protoss Trigger.
Oh boy, oh boy. And as you were saying, like, I myself I'm surprised, pleasantly surprised that Submarine will be the very first map in this series. I know a lot of players shy away from it, but not here. And we'll see what they have in store for us.
So Trigger is going for the fake out play. So what he's done with this pylon placement is he's enabled himself to get a shield bounty on the low ground with this wall, allowing himself to make a pylon out of the map. But it's not a proxy, it's just a fake out. This was the most popular in the meta prior to the battery overcharge patch, where robos and stargates were getting proxied all over the place. And it's a nice mind game. Unfortunately, Nina is not scouting this.
Oh boy, yeah. It's a really nice mind game, but as you said, like, Nina is just still on her side of the map. And what's interesting is that Trigger is still like proxying, or you know, the Twilight Council is still being made outside of the base.
This is a very early expansion, by the way, from Nina. Like, before the pylon, it means her next gateway production will be a bit delayed, but at the same time, her eco will be amazing.
Yeah, it is. It does feel a little bit greedy, especially on a map like this, right, where the rush distance is so small and you can be so aggressive with your initial units.
Yes.
Very, very bold choice by Nina. I feel like it shows like her confidence right now. I feel like that's the kind of player she is. Like, if she can get away with this sort of stuff, she'll do it.
Something also I saw, she went 20 on minerals and 2 out of 3 on both gases. And like on the far patches, especially 3 probes mine almost as efficiently as 2. So she was really eking out the most minerals she could get from this opening. And as a consequence, her expansion is done. Triggers isn't even started.
Yeah. I think Trigger is at this point maybe just committing, because we have 2 more gateways being thrown down. Blink is more than halfway done. Like, Trigger may just be looking to pump out nothing but stalkers across the map. We even have a reinforcing pylon being thrown down.
And Nina hasn't scouted this. Like, she hasn't gotten further enough into the natural to see Trigger has an expansion or not. But with her opening choice, she has a lot of stalkers very quickly. But Trigger will have blink, so we'll have to see how it plays out.
Yeah, as already Nina is trading out a little bit better, even focusing down the warping in Stalkers. Blink only just now finished.
Yeah. Trigger did a nice play there. Using the sight lines, it was just Nina had a bit too much. And sort of traded out okay. Now Nina knows she's setting out more shield battery, so Trigger's sort of on a timer. He will be able to trade better with his, but he doesn't have the stalker count to do that currently.
Yeah, that's the problem. As time goes on, we see Nina is finishing up more and more shield batteries. One already done, a second on the way. And not just that, but we also have a sentry being popped out as well. So it's going to be so difficult for Trigger to break this position.
Yeah. We'll have to see what he can do with his blink. He is setting up a forward pylon, faster warp. But yeah, the problem is Nina's already at 45 probes. Like, she is almost double the income of Trigger. Every second that goes by is just amazing for Nina, terrible for Trigger.
Exactly. And to be fair, Trigger has enough Stalkers to like almost one-shot some of these Stalkers, so it doesn't matter that there's a shield battery. But at the same time, like, he just can't find an angle here. Nice force fields by Nina, and
yeah. I feel like Trigger played this a bit too slowly. Like, maybe he could have gotten something done if he went into DTs after this. I've seen frustration with that particular. But yeah, as it currently stands, it looks like this might be a pretty clean hold from Nina.
Yeah, that's what it's looking like right now. Overcharge is being used. Nina is just trading so much more favorably here. And God, just it's the nail in the coffin is the fact that Trigger is still on one base, right? It's just
and Nina's, of course, incredibly smart, realizes, okay, Trigger, he doesn't have any defenses back at home. So 2 adepts get in. This will probably deal a lot of damage. It depends on the warp-ins, whether Trigger's ready. He has 2, so won't deal as much damage. But yeah, force mining time off at a time like this is very, very rough.
Yeah, exactly. And not just that, not just the mining time, also, like, you know, kind of forced to use those warp-ins at home as well, so the Stalkers aren't aggressively across the map helping out with the main fight. And soon, I feel like as soon as Nina's blink finishes, she's gonna start pushing out. And
yeah, Trigger has really nothing left.
Yeah, pretty much. It's just, what does he have? Nothing. GG gets called. Nina takes game 1.
It was an interesting opening, like, you get a 4-gate blink off one base, but in the end, Nina was just too smart, really. Sort of sniffed him out.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I didn't even know if it was kind of a situation where she was able to sniff him out, because again, she had very little scouting. It felt like it felt like really solid play. And I mean, at a certain point, she realized how aggressive he was being, and she just kind of stayed at home, was defensive. Even before that, she was trading so well in the middle, like, if you recall, before Blink even kicked in for Trigger, and it was insane.
Yeah. That was really the game defining moment. Because if Trigger had Blink ready there, Nina would have not traded very well at all. Trigger would have gotten a critical mass of Stalkers, and then Nina would have had a very hard time holding. As it stood, Nina was able to thin out Trigger's Stalker count enough where it didn't matter that Nina was trading a bit worse, because she had the 2-base economy. Trigger only had 1.
Yeah. And in the end, we saw that Trigger just kind of ran out of steam. The game went on far too long for him to really contend with Nina, and she takes game number 1. We'll see what he has in store for us in game 2, as we should be getting set up pretty shortly here. As this is a best of 3. Even Darking asking for the map. Yeah. I'm also really curious because I know for a while I think you were practice partners with Trigger. I'm not too sure if you still are, but like, is he? Did you influence him in some way? Is he also one to go for something like a cannon rush?
I mean, Death Aura, that's the map for cannon rushing. But of course, Nina knows this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious to see whose map pick this was.
Mm.
Um, yeah, because Death Aura is probably the best or second best map, but if you are aware of this, you can sort of blind counter with scouting and probe patterns.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. Like it's one of those things where like, is it too obvious? You know, will Nina scout and check? Will Trigger risk it? Does he have something else in store for us? Because again, we've seen like this map is a little bit larger compared to Submarine. Like there are plenty of spots on the map to attempt to proxy and keep things hidden. Oof. But here we are, as we are loading in to game number 2 in this best of 3 semifinal. Spawning in the top left, we have the American Protoss player. She is yellow. She is representing Team Exxon. It is Nina.
And spawning in the bottom right hand side of Death Aura LE, going for a low ground wall, it is Trigger representing Alpha X.
Oh boy. Okay.
Yeah. This is something he's been experimenting with. Now, I am interested to see what he's going for, because there's the parting style of 18 18 Nexus, no gas. Yeah, looks like he's going for that. This has the advantage of being able to drop it down before the scouting code gets there, especially on Death Hour where the rush distance is long.
Mm-hmm.
The disadvantage is you don't have enough gas for Stargate defenses. If Nina chose to go for like a very aggressive proxy 3 or 4 gate.
Okay, interesting. So as a result of this, Trigger does throw down his Nexus, you know, unimpeded. Meanwhile, he's being as annoying as possible here.
Yeah. Oof. Nina actually opened 1 gate herself. But Trigger did see this. He won't be able to get back in time to get the block off, but I don't think he minds because his Nexus is halfway done as Nina's just started.
Okay, interesting. We even have a second probe out here for Trigger as well.
I think he might be... Oh. He might be looking at Nina's opening choice and saying, you're going 1 gate, expand, but you're not doing it with the wall on the low ground. Maybe I can exploit this somehow. Oh, mirrored proxies. On
they do. Oh boy. So both of them, I guess, have the same idea, right? Like both of them, they threw down their pylons. Nina's was a little bit faster, so oh my god, throwing down 2 gates.
Yeah, Nina's on 1 gas, so it looks like she'll be going for some sort of adept play, maybe. Doing the second gas just now. Trigger's going for a gateway as well, but wow, 5 gates.
That's a lot of gates. That is a lot of gates. Jesus Christ. So oh boy, this is kind of scary. For Trigger at the moment, as even the adept sneaks into the main.
Yeah, he will get this around with his probe, so this adept won't do that much damage, just a single probe. But more importantly for Nina, she gets the scouting information. Okay, what sort of probe count are you on? Do you have any tech? She sees the gateway being made, and I think she'll feel pretty comfortable with her situation. Like she has, yeah, this is a very weird situation where Trigger's going for the same sort of style as Nina, only a bit more economical.
And I'm just worried, like because of the wall for Trigger, because he doesn't have a wall on top of the ramp. Like it's gonna be difficult.
No. He walked into Stalkers, but he didn't realize he had made a wall. But he ends up recalling, which might actually be a bit better for him, as Nina's going for a very heavy adept play.
And she's gonna be able to get in. There is no wall whatsoever. The Stalkers are moving back across the map. Hopefully he realizes what's happening and turns around. Oh god.
He doesn't have recall.
Ay. He's committed. He's attacking with his Stalkers.
Yeah, this is very rough for Trigger. I don't think he has enough to break Nina. Especially if Nina pulls the probes after recalling. Pros are very good at fighting Stalkers. And the thing is, Nina has enough across the map to kill the rest of Trigger's probes. Like, unless Trigger warps in. But yeah, Trigger's trying to fight off the probes and adept as best as he can, but he just doesn't have the numbers.
Yeah. We can see like this is being cleaned up on the side of Nina's map. Force fields as well traps the Stalkers in with the probes. The probes get in on that action and Trigger's attack, it gets cleaned up. Meanwhile, Nina, her adepts is still across the map.
GG. Wow. I've been so impressed by the builds Nina's been pulling out, and like especially the reactions. Where she goes for the expand after Trigger's 1-gate expand, but in reality is going for a mass adept pressure, which Trigger realistically can't scout with his choice of opening because he went for the 18 Nexus. He doesn't have the gas for sentries.
Oh god. There's a reason why Nina is so good. There's a reason why she even tweeted out, I think it was like last week or something, like her rate of progression as a player and like skill has like dramatically increased over the course of 2020. Like she kind of plateaued for like 4 years or so, like again kind of being semi-active, but like this past year she's really been grinding out and it shows. Like her rate of improvement has been insane, and now she's considered like one of the best Protosses in North America, and we see why.
No, I'm interested in what she's going to do in PvZ.
That's going to be the big question, as I myself haven't seen too much of her late game PvZ. I've seen her time and time again go up against Cham, but Cham is so good at like the mid game and like going for different kinds of all-ins with like Swarm Host and Nidus and stuff like that. Like he usually ends the game like before Nina is able to get to that late game. But this isn't Cham, this is Ryu, who's a lot less aggressive, a lot more willing to go to that late game. We'll see how that turns out. But before we have the finals, we have a raffle.